Did you eat a taco?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Those things. What we have in the freezer, Mom?
Right. Are you already down there?
So, right now, what anxiety goes to the stomach. And if somebody already has some like foot pain, well, and their stomach's messed up, their foot pain is going to get worse. There's inflammation, or they're going to just, they're not going to take care of themselves. They're not going to work out or exercise or whatever. So everything's just going to start snowballing too. So, there's a lot of political ideas here. I mean, maybe we're not front of the line people, but I mean, I don't know. Are we? Aren't we? Who knows? I guess it's all individual.
Well, and I think too, to speak to kind of Michelle's program, you know, isn't like Facebook, their interactions are up 50, 60, 70%, you know, post readings and impressions and all that. I mean, if there was ever a time to do massive Facebooking, Pinterest, Instagram, whatever your deal is, I mean, this is certainly a time to be on it and to be consistent. For people that hate the phone, I know when I say the phone, people just cringe and freak out. But, you know, like I said, Michelle has that whole program, or Michelle's, I think, expertise, and Michelle can speak to this, is all about all these other avenues of, you know, non-contact communication. And for sure, it's a great time because everyone's at home, you know, looking at their phones and looking at Facebook and looking at emails, and they have time to respond now because they're not doing anything else. I mean, what a great time to implement that. So you're set in 30, 60, 90, 120 days when you're open, that you've been marketing the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. I have found that, I mean, like you said, everybody is on their phone nonstop, right? And people
Right.
are like, I always think of them as potential patients, right? On social media, anyone who's not already my patient, they are literally just casting around for new people to follow because they have kind of maxed out, right? They've been following the same people, hearing the same information over and over again. They need something new and interesting. So they're looking for new information to digest and new people to watch. So in my program that you mentioned, it's pretty comprehensive. Like the idea, it's basically, for anyone who's not familiar with me, I call it my Foundations of Marketing course. Sorry, my cat keeps coming back and forth and crunching on all of the paper every time. So I hope you guys can't hear that. Put some of that away. But the idea with the program is it walks you through identifying who you're talking to and the message that you want to share with them, and then all the different avenues that you could reach them from. Including like how to actually get people's attention on social media, different ways of talking to them, and kind of like what are you saying on social media, right? Because that's the number one thing that people tell me they have a hard time with, is they open up Facebook and they know they need to post something because they haven't in like 3 weeks, and they just have no idea what to talk about. So they like take a picture of their lunch and kind of try to relate it to Chinese medicine. But the way that I teach it is thinking about, you know, what is the barrier that stands between this person becoming your patient, and what can you teach them to help eliminate that barrier, right? And so keeping your social media marketing with a specific purpose that kind of drives people to take action. So right now, I mean, if you're not in practice, the actions that you want them to take are going to be a little bit different, right? But it's a great time to just teach them about what you do and your specialty. And so the program goes through all of that. I can link it. Actually, I can put it in the chat.
And if anyone follows me on bradwhisnant.com, and you've seen my emails about Michelle and her program, I mean, if any of you, that whole Facebook, Instagram, obviously that's a huge thing. And I know a lot of people prefer that, especially a lot of the younger acupuncturists probably don't even know what a phone is that actually is on the table. But that's some really good stuff if you guys implement time and money, and that'd probably be one good place to be spending, you know, your energy and all that is marketing, is getting that ready. Because for sure what's going to happen, and nobody wants to acknowledge this or talk about it, and it's certainly the white elephant in the room, but you know, I would call this time kind of somewhat of the great thinning, meaning that, you know, if you're not ready for this, a lot of acupuncturists aren't going to make it. I mean, you look at a lot of the restaurants, they're already predicting 50 to 60% won't reopen. And a lot of acupuncturists, just like restaurants, just like anything, won't reopen either. And if you're not, you know, there were certainly some dark days for me as well, like, oh my God, where are we going to go? What's going to happen? But if you're not actively working now to secure your future, for sure, when your future comes, you're going to be in trouble. And I'll lay dollars to donuts right now. Anybody want to email me and put down a couple grand? I'll guarantee you, I'd be very surprised if this wave one or this thing we're having now is going to be done. It's probably going to come back again and again, and you're going to have somewhat, maybe 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months of impaired clinical operation. And if you're not doing 100% marketing or 100% sowing your seeds for the future, then you're going to be in trouble, because you might make it through June and July, but then, and even August, hey, the sun's out, but you wait till the flu shows up and COVID comes back, I mean, there's going to be some more dark times coming. And if you're still not marketing every single day and looking at this as a long game, you're going to be in trouble. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like Michelle's marketing stuff, because it prepares you for that long game that, you know, COVID, bring it on, you know, inflation, bring it on, life, bring it on, because I'm marketing now and protecting my future. And for sure, if you don't protect it, you're going to be in trouble. All of us.
Well,
Yeah.
I think there's a concept behind marketing, which is, I mean, it's the bloodline to the clinic. That's really what it is. And if you cut off the marketing, you pretty much cut off people knowing who you are, where you are, and what you do. And even if you're at home and you want to, you know, talk to people about some herbs, supplements, acupressure points, whatever, I mean, it always takes to stay in connection, either getting new ones, or it's striking up an idea for somebody that's already seen you and wants to connect with you. I mean, and that's the thing, marketing, network, all that stuff, it has those dynamics. It's not always so direct that you're just going to get that one person that's looking at you. It's always going to be, it's going to strike up a conversation. It's going to strike up a concept, or somebody will say, oh, I know this person. Oh yeah, that's the person. Hey, I saw this thing online about this oh yeah, I saw that too. You know, I mean, it's the bloodline, and it shouldn't stop. I don't stop any of my marketing, and I'm sure you would probably agree with that, right, Michelle?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that I have seen some people do, and you know, this is, I think it's week 9, so I think everyone's getting better about it. But initially, a lot of acupuncturists were just saying, well, I'm gonna like go in and wait it out, right? They're like, I have to take care of my kids. And I understand that, right? That's a ton of work to be educating your kids at home and then also trying to market yourself. But I spent a lot of time pretty much throughout COVID convincing people that they've got to put a little time in each day to be visible to their community, because they can't afford to just disappear from the landscape, right? Like restaurants, and like at least where I live, there are some small local shops where you can do curbside pickup. I see them on Instagram and Facebook every single day. And it's sort of like, you know, okay, maybe I don't need new curtains right now, but they are still popping up and saying like, hey, someday you might need curtains, and I'm right here. And also I'm a local business, and when life starts up again, please think of me and come back into the shop. And I think that acupuncturists can do something really similar just by showing up every day. Even if it's just to get on video on Instagram really quickly and say, hi, I'm here. You know, yesterday was kind of rough. How are you doing? And just get people to answer you so you can have a real conversation with them and build that trust. That's largely what marketing is about, right? Building up enough trust so that people are willing to let you put needles in them.
Yeah. Well, and I think the big thing too right now is everybody wants to market or do telemedicine today and then have a result tomorrow during this pandemic. And I mean, it should be I'm marketing now. And like, honestly, people won't even show up maybe they won't even show up until the next time this comes around. Like, God, last time we had this outbreak, Michelle was marketing, we're outbreaking again in December, and I'm going to call Michelle finally 6 months later. And I think that's the time frame you have to have in this stuff. And it's just this instant gratification Facebook generation of like, you know, hey, if I punch A, I want B. Like, brother, it doesn't work like that. And this the same thing you're speaking to, and that's this COVID time. You know, every day, like I said to men this morning, I darn near work just as hard during my time off than I am working, because we're still working every day doing something to push the clinic forward. And maybe that's a seen way that you could see on Facebook, or maybe that's an internal way, but we're pushing the clinic. I just drew up a new kind of a treatment graph for my patients. I think they'll really appreciate that when I talk to them. That's a marketing. It's not like a direct marketing to an outward person, but for sure that'll give me better results in the clinic and better communication with my patients, better retention of my patients, and also I think more referrals from my patients. That's a wonderful thing that all of us should be redoing. And there shouldn't be anyone post-COVID that says, oh my God, I need to redo my paperwork. Okay, you had time, you blew it. I need to do my Facebook page. No, you had time, you blew it. I need to do this. No, you had time, you blew it. I mean, people should be taking responsibility and say, dude, this is a gift. I have time right now to like knock this stuff out, and I'm going to get on it. So when this thing's done, I can just rock and roll. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing I fear for people is it's a sad time, a dangerous time, a dramatic time, a painful time. and yet no one's going to see the gift in it, which is I have time with my family, my children, and I have time to blow my clinic up in a good way. You know, like get it rocking and rolling, like secure all these little issues. I'm like, dude, I wish I could do that, but I never had time to fix it. Okay, let's fix that squeaky door. Let's fix the toilet paper roll. Let's da. And that's just the little things. And when the clinic opens, like, dude, I am ready to just get on this.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people who are particularly redoing their websites during this time, because that is kind of time consuming, right? Especially if you're doing it yourself, you're not hiring it out.
Yep.
So I think that's a great way to spend your time right now. And then, yeah, I think the showing up regularly on social media is a great way to build your following, so that when you go back into practice, you have more people in your community paying attention when you make the announcement. And I think everything that you do does make you more visible, right? All the phone calls, every time you produce something new for patients, you have to reach out and make sure they have it, right? And that's a touch point. That's a reminder, like, oh, right, like Brad's clinic is right there if I need him.
Well, and today, here we are 9 weeks into it, right? Today, I finally, because my wife and I, we've been so slammed doing other things, but today we finally got up, our safety precautions of COVID times that we do at the clinic. It's up on our website. It's up on the Facebook page. So now if patients are wondering, well, God, did they clean this? Did they do that? Here's what we do in the clinic. So you're safe. The employees are safe. The patients are safe. And it's just doing, it's just a little thing, but every day you move the rock a little bit, and eventually at the top of the hill, you just keep moving the rock, and you move the rock, and you move the rock. And eventually you're like, dude, I've gone a good distance.
Yeah.
God, I need to get to work. No, I need to get my website going a little bit. But there was one thing I wanted to add here that, I mean, you guys are hitting on some really good, valuable points that I think people can have an understanding that communicating and marketing is good. And when before all this thing, it was kind of a hard thing, because with the acupuncturists that I consult, marketing was a hard idea to get past for them. And now for some of them, it can be a hard idea just for them to get past, because there's so much interference, and I think it starts with purpose, and it starts with mindset. I mean, it's the idea here is it's a scary time. Everybody's going through it, but also to remember, I mean, one, we are entrepreneurs to a degree. I mean, we are the clinic. The clinic runs when we are good and healthy. When we're not, it doesn't run so well. So we kind of have to remember that we've got to have that mindset and purpose, because our purpose is that driving thing of what we initially started with, to be in the position to call ourselves an acupuncturist. We started with school, we went into the profession. And however it's done, whether it's telemedicine or it's at the office, or there's backyard acupuncture going on, and there's backyard haircuts and all this stuff. And that's just the reality of it is right now. And I think we're all pretty aware as far as cleanliness, but we got to remember that there's a mindset here and a purpose to maintain, and that's to really help the community out and help to reach out to them, to let them know who we are and what we do. And I think that's the basic thing. When we have doubt, and we have doubt right now, there's tons of doubt. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I give them a hug? Should I not give them a hug? Should I, what about my practice? What about my livelihood? And the thing is we've got to remember who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it, and do it intelligently and with caution. But really, it's reaching back out to those people and letting them know that fact, who we are, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. I mean, and I'm sure, Michelle, I haven't seen your marketing platform, but I'm sure it's great. And I'm sure it gives everybody those things and steps and details of how to do that. But I think that it's, for a lot of people that I've talked to, is they're scared. And I just want to let everybody know that just remember, when you're in doubt or where you're scared or something's going on. I mean, in business, I've been in business a long time. I've seen peaks, I've seen valleys, and I've seen deep valleys. So, but the thing that really helped was, okay, wait, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? What do I want to accomplish here? And it's just getting back to the basics. And marketing is definitely the basics. It's communication. And without communication, we can't accomplish our purpose. So it's something to remember, and I just wanted to break it down to the basic parts of it. And I mean, even with my staff, I talk to my staff. I mean, it's got to be basic information. It's got to be basic communication, because there's so much that can be misinterpreted. That's another story, but I mean, I'm sure you guys would agree with me on that.
No, that's a wonderful point. Getting back to like that, and that was something when we reopened. I was like, okay, you know, what's the purpose of, you know, what am I doing here? And I think hard times like this, whether it's a war or whether it's COVID or it's a divorce or a bankruptcy or a sickness or an illness, those things usually have a way of kind of adjusting our focus. And it's like, okay, I'm here to help people. These are the things that I can do, and I'm going to keep it basic, and I'm just going to step forward with that and move forward. And that's what you're speaking about, is just remembering your focus or your training or your values, and then stepping with that front forward with that foot, and it works out great. And I think that's the same thing as when you move into a marriage or anything. I mean, if you love someone, it might be challenging or frustrating at times for sure, but if you step forward with that, look, I love you more than the problem, or I love you more than our argument, or I love you more than this frustration, then it always works out. And I think you can do the same thing with the clinic. You know, I love to help people more than this pandemic, or I love to help people more than the stress. I love to help people more than the fear I'm having. I mean, and you step forward. I mean, it's been challenging for sure. I told Min, this is about my wife. This is maybe this week is the first week I kind of felt normal treating, but you still have to get up every day. And if you're scared or hurt, refocus on that core value, like you said, and step forward. It's been challenging for sure.
I love the like taking that perspective about your purpose and then shining it on marketing, like Dominic was talking about, because one of the things that I always teach people is that marketing is simply letting the people who need you know that you exist, so that you can help them with acupuncture, right? Because it is like Dominic said, people feel worried that marketing is going to be sleazy, but when you're keeping, you know, that core in the background, that core belief, like I'm here to help people, and all I'm doing with my marketing is helping them understand that acupuncture can change their life, that takes a lot of pressure off of people, I tend to find.
And I equate that back to, like, I mean, dating can be sleazy, but if you're genuinely but if you're genuinely concerned about trying to find a life mate or a soul partner, or be a loving, genuine person to whoever you're trying to meet, I mean, dating's a beautiful thing. And that's the same thing in marketing. I mean, you can make it horrible, but if you actually genuinely care, it's like, dude, I could help you. I could be a positive force in your life. Here's the things I have, and how can I best be of service?
Yeah. I was talking to someone today who she used COVID to really think about what she wanted, right? And I think that's what you were saying earlier, Brad, is it's like a blessing to think about the direction you want to take things. So she was an associate and decided that she was done and she'd like to start her own clinic, which is exciting. And she was saying that the person she was working for was very anti-marketing and felt like if she did any marketing, it was going to come across as desperate. And I just felt like, what a terrible shame, because marketing is just your opportunity to teach people how much acupuncture can help them, right? And it's always, like you said, in the angle, the way that you spin it. You could make marketing awful and
100%.
feel desperate.
100%.
I've never seen an acupuncturist do truly sleazy marketing, but it's something that everybody seems to be afraid of. Most of the acupuncturists I work with, you know, they're really leading with their heart, so to speak. And they are leading with humility as well. So it's really hard for their marketing to come across as gross feeling because of that, but they don't realize it. So I do think it's super important to talk about and remind people.
Well, and I think, and unfortunately, again, it's certainly marketing is probably a dirty word to most people, but I mean, I guarantee, you know, right now we're talking to people in communication, you're marketing.
Yeah.
You're talking to your child about going to bed at night, you're marketing. You're talking to your spouse about, hey, this is the place I'd like to go for dinner, you're marketing. You know, you're getting gas, hey, could you help me and fill up my gas tank? You're marketing. I mean, you're in communication with another person on this planet, you're marketing. I mean, you're in community, and a better word for that. So, well, I'm not marketing, Brad, I'm in communication. That's what marketing is. You're in communication with an individual and you're trying to educate or converse or share a story. And that's really all marketing is. And then it's up to you. Well, you know, for me, I really like the phone, or I like in person. I like the touch. I like to be, but a lot of, I mean, it doesn't matter whatever your vehicle is, it could be anything. And then you just have to manifest a vehicle that, oh, for me, Facebook is my deal, or Instagram's my deal, or the phone is my deal, and then you just move with that. But yeah, it's just about communication, and that's what people should be doing, hopefully now on a rather large scale.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it goes with any profession and anything we do. If we have our car breaks down, we want it to get fixed, and we don't want somebody to just do some bogus job and slap some gum on it and just give it back to us and charge us. We want to go to somebody that knows what they're doing. They're going to do it well. I mean, I'm going to go and if somebody's going to charge me a little bit more than the guy down the street, it's probably because he deserves it. It's probably because he's got some letters behind his name. So, I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm kind of go down the middle of the road as far as some things go. However, if it's for my body, I'm willing to pay more for it.
And that's why you're so beautiful, Dominic.
Thanks, Brad. He likes to pick on me.
I do. But that speaks to something you said, and we don't need to spend too much time on this, but I haven't seen yet really, for me, I haven't seen from a monetary perspective, anybody that wants to spend any less or any more than what it was before. I see certainly people that are into spending money on their body. I see people that don't want to spend money on their body. I mean, I haven't, and a lot of people are worried about, oh my God, no one has money, no one has a job, there's gonna be a massive problem. Almost all my patients, a lot of them have lost insurance. There's new insurances, there's good, there's bad, but overall, everything is there's still just as much of everything as before. And there's not this massive lack that I've heard most acupuncturists so worried about. No one's got any money, no one's got any insurance, nobody can get treatment. And again, it's just what you just spoke about, Dominic, right there, about your car being broken down. Whether you have money or not, if it's important to you, you're going to do it.
That's right.
And I don't think I've seen really any difference other than just the amount of people I'm seeing in the clinic obviously is reduced by like 50%. But those 50%, I still have just as many committed or not committed or whatever in that bunch. I haven't seen like everyone is not paying money or nobody wants any extra herbs or nobody wants any extra treatments. I haven't seen any of that.
Well, I think that's a good point to make, though, is that, it's our conviction of what we do and how we do it. And that's why we want people to know who we are and where we are and that we can help them. People that are staying home right now that don't want to leave and they can leave, or they're going to be able to leave, they're going to want to go to somebody that's really showing themselves and saying, hey, come to me, And I think there is a little bit of fear there. Sometimes people have a little bit of fear about putting their name out into the public. They're like, if I put my name out into the public, I'm going to get some ridicule. I'm going to have to answer myself. But no, not really. I put my name out there a lot in the newspapers and on TV, on radio, on every platform you think of. I've done it. And I haven't had any ridicule. And if I did, then I just go, well, it's your opinion, whatever.
Right.
But there's so many people that really do want commitment. They want their health. They want it back. And I think it's important for us to just remember that people, they want their car to run. They want their bodies to run better than their cars. And if we can help them, let's do it.
Yeah, no. And I think if anything, I've seen more people now committed. If you pin me down and said, tell me what the feeling of the clinic has been, is people that show up now, they're like, yeah, I want to fix, I want my back fixed. I mean, they are 100% on board, because I remember when I used to be in real estate like 30 years ago, and people say, Brad, isn't real estate really bad in the wintertime when it's snowy? Nobody wants to go and look at houses. I said, well, it's true. There are a few less people looking at houses, but here's the benefit. The people that are out looking at houses when it's snowy, they're really committed buyers. Yeah. They really want a house. And granted, you might be at a 50% reduction of your patients or 75% reduction of your patients, but here's the beauty of that. The people that are coming are super into getting healthier and better, and they're committed and they're on board and they're with whatever you're doing. And I think most practitioners really want that, is patients to be on board with kind of what they're trying to help them with. And for right now, for sure, man, the patients are much more, I think, committed that are showing up for sure. And that's been a very nice thing for me in the clinic.
I've had more now that I've been open than before this whole stupid thing. Is I have more families coming in now than ever. They're like, well, will this help my daughter? Will this help my wife? Will this help? And I've got like families coming in, and I got to figure out the spacing and everything for that. But, so that it's going to, like I said in the beginning, it's going to create some opportunity for patients, for you, for whatever. So there was another point I wanted to make, but I forgot it. I'll chime in.
Well, but that's the same thing I've seen. I've seen a lot more people referring their friends. You know, like, hey, you know, I had one guy check in. I was like, hey, let me text this guy right now. Let me get him in. I mean, lots more of, hey, let me call my buddy Dominic. He's had back pain like me. I've noticed that a lot more than before. Like, oh yeah, you know, Dominic's got back pain. I'll give him a call next week. It's been lots more like, man, I'll just call him right now and tell him to get his butt down here. He needs some help from you. I mean, I've seen lots more people talking like that. You know, same thing about their families and sisters and brothers and friends. And it's been much more, I think, a little bit more connected than before.
Well, their commitment, I just remember what I was going to say, is that their commitment now is bigger more than ever. And I know this for a fact because I used to have 10 to 12% every week patients wouldn't show up. So, I mean, if we had, you know, let's say 150 patients scheduled, I know that 15 of those people are not going to come in. I just know that.
Right.
Now we're down to a 2%. So that means if we have 100 people, we're going to have 100 people scheduled. 98 of those people are coming in. And that's just what I'm seeing across the board. So people are very committed. So anybody that has doubt that the patients don't want treatment, get rid of that doubt. You're holding yourself back on that because people they want to come in, they want to get it done. And if they don't, they don't. You're going to have that. But there's so many people out there that are, like you said, they're committed. They're gonna be there no matter if it's snowing, if there's a storm, or I mean, they get a flat tire, they're gonna show up.
Well, and I think you're right. I'm just, as you were talking about that, I think I'll have to go back and check, but for sure my no-show rate is way down.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about that till right now when you just said that.
Yeah, and we keep stats on all this stuff, and it was like, I was looking at it today, and it's like, holy, whatever, you know, wow, I haven't seen it like that before. I mean, we used to do a lot more marketing outside. We would do public talks, we would do events, we would do booths, we would do corporate events, we would do all this external marketing. And so we would see some no-show ratios coming in, higher no-show ratios, but now it's internal marketing. I mean, it's internal cross with external because that's what social media is, I think. It's kind of a cross between it because they're getting to know you personally, but not to your face, right? So there's a little bit more commitment there, you know, with Google and Facebook and all that. So yeah, I mean, their commitment is more, they're more willing to show up. And actually the next thing that I know a lot of people, their question is would people pay? They're short on money right now. I'll tell you what, in the clinic, I have been selling, and you know, excuse my words if they offend you, I don't mean to, but they're just simple and to the point. So I've been selling packages for $1,200 to $3,000. And this is what people want. When I go through it and I ask them and I say, well, tell me about your problems. Let's take a look at it. I pinch, poke, whatever. And then I say, well, let's do some treatment. They feel better. I say, well, do you want to get rid of this? Yes. I said, well, let's do this. This is how long it'll take. This is how many visits I think you'll need. These are the other therapies. These are the herbs I want you to have. And it's going to take 4 months. You've had this problem for so long. And they, you know, and it's $3,000. What do you want to do? And then they tell me, and I haven't had one person, not one, say, I can't afford it. I don't want to do it. So, I mean, whether you're doing something for $500, it just doesn't matter. And the number doesn't matter. Price doesn't matter when people are committed. They're willing to get a goal accomplished, and that's their health and their problem taken care of. And right now times are weird. So it's us being dedicated and committed to what we're doing. It reminds me of this, I was mountain biking the other day, and my buddy's like, oh yeah, go off this like 6-foot boulder. It's really easy. Just do this and that. And I'm like, you're nuts, man. I'm not doing it. He's like, you just got to commit. If you're committed, then you're going to land it. And I'm thinking, you're just nuts. First of all, I got to be as nuts as you are to be committed to that. But I think that's the thing is it's like, you know, it looks like a big 6-foot boulder to me. That's the way I'm seeing it. He's not seeing it that way because he's committed. Patients are the same way. They are, and as practitioners, it's having that, you know, you're committed, the patients are committed, they will pay, they want to pay.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I think that there is, like we've been talking about, a general fear that people don't have money, but and I think there's a shift, right? Like some people don't have as much, other people, their income is the same, but they're not going out and spending, right? So they, at least in New York, right? Like no one's going outside. So they have a ton of savings. But I think the point is that there's always going to be people with money who are willing to spend it. And it might not be the same ratio of patients that you had before, but it's okay to sell something and to market acupuncture because there are people out there with money who want to feel better. And especially like where I live, I think maybe we'll go back into practice in 2 to 4 weeks. We're uncertain. But that shift in mindset is hugely important for people to maybe start working on now, so that by the time their clinic is open, they feel comfortable with the idea that like, okay, there's people with money and they're ready to spend it. And that's why it's important for me to get my message out there.
And social media marketing is fairly inexpensive from what I experience.
Oh
right?
gosh, yeah.
I mean,
I'm all about the free, the free
yeah,
marketing.
and so if it's fairly inexpensive, but isn't it now that more people are on? It's more than doubled. I forget what you said, Brad, that percent or whatever.
I thought it was 50 to 70% more impressions and connections and clicks and likes and video
That's
watches.
huge.
Yeah, I just read a big article that the article's about, don't think you're so popular and famous because everyone's watching your video. It's just because everyone's watching videos. But
they're bored.
But it speaks to the fact that you finally have an audience that has time to look at things, and that's kind of a unique situation where, again, the whole world is like that, not just America, not just Sweden, not just Germany, not just, anywhere. It's like darn near everywhere, and everybody to some degree is restricted in their movement and time and work. And that's people want to fill it with something. They might as well fill it with information about Michelle or Dominic or you or anyone else.
Well, and I think the Facebook algorithm, the way it works is if there's more viewers, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're paying more. But you can pay the same or less. I don't know if I'm correct on this, but is that right, Michelle? Do you have any knowledge on that algorithm and how it works with the exposure? And I know there's likes and clicks and all this stuff, but as far as I know, like you spend $20 on an ad, it's going to see, a lot of people are going to see it. So if I spend $20 and 1,000 people see it, right now, if it's 70% more than that, then that's what, 2,000 whatever more are going to see it for the same price or less. I know Google works like that too. They're priced per click, and there's an algorithm, and it's all stupid and weird. I don't get it, but either way, there's a huge audience out there, and they're wanting and looking and watching.
Right. I mean, the way the algorithm basically works is the more engagement that you get on even a post, like if it's not boosted, right? You haven't paid for it to reach any new people. The more engagement you get, the more frequently Facebook will show it to your followers, and the more likely it is to show it to people who don't follow you. So then you're getting new exposure.
Wait a minute, you got to say that again.
So the more engagement you get on a Facebook post, the more likely Facebook is to show it to your followers, right? Because when you post something on Facebook, not all of your followers will see it, right? It depends on the time of day that you post it and who's online at that time, if they're paying attention. But if you post something really good and it's getting engagement, it's going to show it to more people. And that's true if it's an ad or just an organic post that you put up.
That's awesome.
Well, and I think just listening to you guys, I think that speaks to a thing, and you guys already know I say this all the time, but about no matter what happens, and Dominic knows me personally, he knows I complain, and I cry sometimes, I whine and I complain, but still at the end of the day, you got to improvise, overcome, and adapt, and there has to be a solution somehow with either me or my friendship or my marriage or my business, or there's a solution somewhere. And you've got to find that, you've got to be able to get through that. And I think this pandemic really, if anything, it should speak to that at the core of everything should be improvising, overcoming, and adapting. And then through all that, you become stronger. And whether that's your marketing or your clinic or how you clean or how you treat or how you give at-home therapies or how you talk to patients, there's just this massive opportunity through this time. And I think that's the big thing, is seeing an opportunity. I mean, that's, I've always said this for years in all my talks, you know, in Japanese, and I'm sure some acupuncturists will rail me on this, but whatever. You know, there's no direct translation for problem. It's always a dangerous opportunity. That's the direct translation for problem in Okinawan and Japanese. It's a dangerous opportunity. And that's what this time is. And you can look at any aspect of your clinic that's suffering or change because of it. And you have a dangerous opportunity to either excel and become better and really troubleshoot it and figure it out, or not, and go the way of the dinosaurs and be extinct. I mean, these are the times where people get separated. That this is a time where the herd thins, where it's like, I'm either going to step up and I'm going to make this my profession. It's not going to be a hobby. I'm going to get through this. It's going to be okay. And I'll be stronger for it. Or I'm not, and I'm going to cave and I'm going to go do something else. And that's fine too. It's okay if you're like, okay, this has shown me that this is not where I want to be. And even then, that's a gift. But this thing should be a gift for all of us, about improvising and overcoming and adapting on a daily basis. And it's not easy. Like I said, Dominic could spend hours talking to you guys about how much I complain and don't know what to do, or I'm freaking out, or I'm struggling. But that still means through that struggle, through that complaining, there's a solution that's found. And that's probably everything we're talking about is about that, whether it's marketing with Michelle or business coaching with Dominic, or acupuncture techniques or points with the Master Tong and the Dr. Tong with me. I mean, it's all about improvising, overcoming, and adapting.
I agree. I mean, we went to Vietnam, and I never really understood what that all meant until we had to build a clinic in a day for 9 acupuncturists to be busy for a week.
A quick story on that. A quick story on that. I had a volunteer camp in Vietnam. We won't spend too much time, but I had a volunteer camp in Vietnam. Everything was set up. Thousands of people are coming. We're taking acupuncturists over. Time, money, commitment, stress, energy, all that. And the day before, the government shut us down and everything was screwed. And so either you can pack up and fly home, which I damn near wanted to do at 3 o'clock at night and just leave everyone and be freaked out, or you can get up the next morning and build a clinic from scratch, 6,000 miles from your home, and have it flooded with patients. And that's that idea of improvising, overcoming, adapting, of just saying, okay, how do I push that rock 1 more inch forward? And whether, again, that's your clinic or your life or whatever, I mean, that's really the core of all this stuff. And Dominic was there with me. That's why he knows. Dominic's the one that I called and was crying and freaking out about. And my blood pressure was probably 250 over 180. And I was sweating and I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. And we just said, okay, let's just break this down. How can we take a step forward? Whether it's Vietnam screwed up or your clinic or whatever, how can we take a step? How can we figure this out? And how can we make something good out of it? And that's one thing I appreciated about Dominic. And when he was there for me, I probably won't forget that.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing, man. We were busy, all of us, all 9 of us, busy every day, all day.
But it was stressful, and that's what this COVID times is. It's stressful times for sure.
That's right. That's a valley, and you get through it, and you just keep going with your purpose and your drive and why and who you are and what you're doing. And that right there alone is it's like pedaling the bike. You just keep pedaling. You don't, you just keep going. You keep going. Eventually, you get there. And it's going to be tough, but you got to do something.
And really, you guys, from opening a new clinic, I mean, now that I wear a mask, I wear gloves, we sterilize the rooms every time, we sterilize the bathroom, we sterilize the doors, we keep people isolated and socially distanced, and we close down the waiting room. I mean, yeah, that sounds like a lot, but other than that, it's still all the same. People still got back pain, they still got diarrhea, they still got stress, they still got issues. I mean, it's a big deal, I get, but it's not that big a deal. And you put your glove on, you put your mask on, you sterilize, you get to work, and you slow down a bit, and you fix everything, and you just keep banging forward.
Well, the treatment happens in the treatment room. Yeah. It doesn't happen anywhere else in any other room. It happens in the treatment room. Wherever that room is, or table or whatever, that's where it's happening with that person in the engagement. So yeah, I mean, masks, all that stuff, and spacing and scheduling, but yeah, that's where the magic happens, right?
Well, and I think I saw a lot of posts, and I think Michelle can speak to this. I think about how, like you said earlier, Michelle, about how they don't know what to do, so they don't do anything. Like I saw a lot of posts about people saying, hey, what kind of gloves should I wear so I can take the pulse? My suggestion to all acupuncturists would be, the minutia is important, of course. You have to focus on the details. But the bigger thing here is to spend time on the big things that would get your clinic safe and open and running. And maybe for a few months, you don't take the pulse with your gloves on. That's okay. That's a very small piece of the overall treatment. But I always see acupuncturists, and like I said, Michelle, I bet from a marketing perspective, you're like, just get your blog out. They're like, yeah, but I said that one thing in the blog, or I had that one sentence. You're like, dude, just publish your work. I mean, I've written 7 books, and a lot of people rail my books and they hate my books because it's got issues. But that's just one part. I mean, the overall thing is okay. And I think, Michelle, don't you see that a lot where people are just like frozen by one little thing? And like I said, I see so many people worried about, how do I needle with gloves? How do I feel the pulse with gloves? How do I talk loudly with a mask on? I mean, yeah, those are frustrations, but there's such a small piece of the overall thing of open the doors, be thoughtful to patients, have a caring, compassion angle, and get to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I find that a lot of my marketing students kind of drown themselves in the minutia, right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty paralyzing.
Yeah, they love the minutia.
Yeah, I always think of it as perfection is the enemy of the good, right? What would be good is just to publish the blog posts and teach people something, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to be perfect, I'd have no books published.
Right, yeah, I have no website.
Yeah.
And I'm such a perfectionist. You do have to sort of get to a point where you're willing to put your work out into the world and accept that it will never be perfect. It's like striving for it is not helpful. And I also always think of marketing as an experiment, right? And I love free marketing approaches, right? So it's a lot safer to experiment with marketing when you're not dumping money into it, right?
Of course.
But I think that helps people release some of that perfectionism, because it's like, just, try posting on Facebook 4 times a week and see what kind of engagement you get. If you don't like it, or it didn't work like you thought it would, then change something about what you're doing. So you can just shift a little and then see how that works. That's natural in marketing, right? It's all about like course correcting until you find something that you like and brings you patients, right? So I think that experimentation helps take some of that pressure off of people as well.
Well, does anyone there, we've got some participants, does anyone have any questions that they want to ask, and we can maybe answer? We've chatted on I think a lot of different topics for what, about an hour now. That was quick.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions?
I went and put the link to my course and a discount code in the chat, and I know that you mentioned Dominic has one-on-one coaching, or is it group coaching? But I didn't know if he wanted to put that in the chat as well, a link for people to find him.
Okay. Yeah, I do one-on-one. I'll throw it in there.
Well, and here's a good question. Do you see any anti-Chinese pushback in your clinic? I mean, I think I've seen as much anti-Chinese pushback as I see anti-Black, anti-white, anti-gay, anti-lesbian, anti-rich, anti-poor. I mean, people are people, and there's racist, sexist idiots out there always. I haven't seen any more or any less. And again, I think from my perspective, I don't even get into it with my patients. I mean, they're there for treatment, got really nothing to do with Chinese medicine. My medicine is holistic in nature, and whether it's, I haven't seen it come up, and I treat a ton of people, so I don't know about that. And I think, how are you dealing with the scare release of, we certainly have documents, what's the release of liability suggested by malpractice? I mean, I'm not treating COVID-19, so there's a whole big difference there. And then, of course, we have some rules and regulations. And I think that question about liability, that's a very fluid and ever-changing issue right now. I mean, they're talking about that at the governmental level, about the new stimulus package. There's all sorts of lawsuits nowadays, and that's changing day by day by day by day. I'd be careful with me giving you any type of concrete suggestion. Because it's going to change so fluid and so much. That would be something I would just touch base on every day and make sure you're covering your bases. For sure, we're in America. It's a litigious society, and that's certainly something that I worry about to some degree. And but then that worry, I say this all the time, it's like driving a car. You can get T-boned, you're right. You could get sued, you're right. And it's a scary darn thing. and it's sad. But you wear your seatbelt, you drive safe, you do the best you can, and you hope for the best. And that's kind of how I run my clinic. For sure, some bad things could happen, but you know, you have your paperwork, you disinfect, you chart things, you take it day at a time, and you do your best. And hopefully I don't get T-boned by a truck when I drive home. You know, I mean, that's how I think. I try not to let that minutia stop me, because it will, because for sure, there's always, you know, if somebody wants to create a problem, they probably could create a problem, I'd imagine.
I think documenting everything you're doing is helpful as well. Like if you can prove at the end of the day that you are following the best practice guidelines from your state, and the national associations, and you're documenting it, then, I mean, I don't know if you'd still be covered, right? But at least it makes a lot of people feel better.
Well, and I think the big thing is just don't treat COVID-19. I mean, we don't treat Western diseases, A.
True.
We
Yeah.
don't make false promises, B. And if you want help with your immune system or lung capacity or your stress or inflammation, of course I can be of assistance with that. But we're not treating the virus. We're not treating the disease. We're helping the body be stronger. But I don't even think I've treated anyone even with a side effect of COVID-19 yet. It's all just been like, you know, normal clinic stuff. I mean, again, I think that's acupuncturists being so freaked out about what are people going to say. And I swear, in my weeks we've been open, other than me wearing gloves and a mask and cleaning my clinic, I don't know if the clinic's any different with how the people are talking or coming in. It's like still the same stuff, you know, diarrhea, stress, you know, back pain, neck pain, you know, blah, blah, blah. But
Well, I think one thing that people do appreciate, which I know I would and everybody else, is when you go, we're not having patients sign in. There's no pin. Nobody's going to touch a pin. And if they have to sign their credit card, we give them a cup and we say, these are clean pins. These have been cleaned. They're like, oh, thank you. Thank you for that. When they walk in, we offer a bandana. You know, I walk in the room, I have gloves on, or I wash my hands. And before I leave, I wash my hands again. And, you know, just those little things, they let them know, even though they're not looking, they know what you're doing. So, you know, there is that risk, you know, do we want to be, what do they call that? Where if they get it, they can track it and see where it came from.
The tracing?
Yeah, the tracing thing, you know, but that's the thing, is if we follow the rules and we're clean and we show them they're clean, then there's no reason for them to be in fear of it. But and then there are some patients, they don't want to wear a mask, they don't want to come in. Okay, that's fine. That's your choice.
Yeah, and I mean, like right now I'm looking at my clinic. I have masks for people. We have paper towels. We have a touchless hand sanitizer. We have a picture of why you need to wear a mask. It's a great thing. It was on Facebook. We copied. And then we've got a list of things. And I mean, you just do the most you can, the best you can. And then you just, you know, you put your best foot forward.
Keeping it basic. Yeah.
I try. And I think I saw a good question from Lanny.
Yeah.
It said, I'm one of those who disappeared. How do I reach out after 9 weeks? I hate the phone too. So seriously, and this is, you can equate this back to like me. I put on weight since the 9 weeks of lockdown. How do I get back to being healthy? Get up and move today. And then you'll do more movement tomorrow, and you'll do more movement the next day. And eventually you'll be back to the weight you want to be at. And that's the same thing. If you dropped out of your clinic, just pick up the phone today, or start marketing today with Michelle, or pick up Facebook today, or do one little thing today. And then you just keep moving forward and moving forward. Eventually it'll be like you never even had a break. It's a piece of cake. But the thing is, every day.
I think a nice way to return to social media, at least if you've been gone this whole time, is it's okay to be honest with people and just say like, hey, I've been gone for a while. You know, I had to take care of my family or my home or whatever, and just be like, but I'm so happy to be back here with you in this Instagram community. Share a little something about yourself. This is cheesy, but if you don't want to share your own photo, share a picture of your pet. People love to see your pets. It helps them relate to you. And then that's sort of like your gateway. And then like Brad said, every day after that, or at least a couple days a week, check in with your people, teach them something about acupuncture. But I think we're in a space where people appreciate authenticity online more than ever. So it's okay for you to say, I've been gone for a while. I've been busy or stressed, but I'm back and I'm looking forward to connecting.
And you know what's really cool is, you know, Dominic's a great guy. Dominic's been a coach of mine for a while. He has helped me immensely on many levels. I strongly recommend anyone who needs help with coaching to talk to Dominic. He has quite a unique touch. I'm saying that because,
Thank you.
and this speaks to what Michelle was saying, every time I've gone on a vacation, I take lots of vacations, and then my clinic will slow down. I come back and I call Don, like, Dominic, I'm freaking out. I don't know where my patients went. Everything's down. I don't have any patients. What the heck is it? And Dominic's like, what'd you do? I'm like, oh, I went on vacation. He's like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. You need to get back to marketing. Let's talk about reconnecting. This is a unique time because right now, if you've been like, and this gets back to the question, I've been closed for 9 weeks. What do I do? I guarantee if you'd been closed for 9 weeks any other time, you'd lose the patients because everybody else was open. Like when I go on vacation, I always run the risk of losing patients because when I'm on vacation, all you guys are open and I'll lose my patients to other acupuncturists. But even though you might have been closed for 9 weeks, everybody else has been closed and on vacation as well. And it's almost like you're getting a pass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you come back for 9 weeks, like, oh, well, Dominic, of course you've been gone. You've been taking care of your family. It's been COVID times. I hope you've enjoyed some time with your kids and your business. I'm glad you're open again. No big deal. Dude, you go to Fiji for 9 weeks and come back? You're like, dude, you know, they're like, dude, you got a tan, you've been screwing around, and now you want me to buy treatment, and oh yeah, I'm just paying for your Fiji vacation. You know, there's a whole bunch of, no, but there's a whole bunch of pushback. And I noticed with this, when I open back up, everyone's like, yeah, man, it's cool. Like, it's cool. I'm glad you had some time with your family. You got time to teach your kids, time for yourself. That's great. Glad you're back. Like, you get like a free pass. And again, no one sees a gift in that. Because I guarantee you take a 9-week vacation in 2 years, you're going to lose a bunch of your patients. Because like, dude, she took a vacation. I've been busting my butt all day.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Everybody's on the same page. And that's the thing. And it's not just in my neighborhood. It's this whole planet. This whole planet is on the same understanding of, hey, it's time to be patient and you got to look past certain things. And you know, I think patients are understanding, even new people come in and they're like, oh, I'm so grateful you're open. Or they're like, well, nobody else could treat this. Or my chiropractor is closed. My physical therapist is closed. My massage therapist is closed. I need your help. I'm like, okay, cool. I got acupuncture. I got herbs. I'll walk on your back. I'll give you cupping. You know, whatever. I'll do whatever I can to help you.
But versus 9 weeks ago, if I would have been open at 9 o'clock on a Monday, they're like, why didn't you see me at 8:30? And now if I'm like, hey, a new patient, I can't see you guys for a week and a half. Okay, that's cool. I'll see you in a week and a half. Like there's a gift in this whole thing. Yeah,
for sure. For sure. It's a mindset. It's a shared mindset everybody has.
I would agree with that.
Very different.
It's like a worldwide solidarity. It's really nice.
Yeah, there you go.
It never has been before.
No, yeah.
That's
and
so
I think
true.
For sure all the overseas acupuncturists are in the same boat where they've never been before when we have like these types of American talks. So yeah, I mean, I hope you guys are all being safe over there and hopefully everyone's just taking it one day at a time. And who knows, this thing might get crazy in a week or it might go away in a week. But I think again, that just being open or being open to whatever comes is okay. Again, just being fluid, being flexible, improvising, overcoming, adapting, just rolling with it and realizing that this too shall pass in 1 to 5 years, you know, I mean, to some degree, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Right
it
on.
looks like that's the end of our questions. Looks like we had some people saying thank you and signing off.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys hopping on here with me and chatting. I think it was very uplifting. Talked about a lot of
It's my first Zoom
positive
talk the
stuff.
whole COVID time.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, thank you, Dominic. You know, thanks for always being there, obviously over these last years, and obviously Michelle, you know, for your education and marketing. I mean, you've done a ton of work and help for me, even if I haven't done it maybe directly. The ideas you have, I've been able to extrapolate those, and even Dominic, your idea has been able to extrapolate those, and then make that a positive influence on my life and my clinic. So I certainly thank you both for what you guys have shared, not only with me personally, but obviously just the general world, because I listen to you guys and I learn a lot from you.
Oh, thank you so much. You as well.
And more from you, Michelle, than Dominic. Dominic's different, but I like Michelle more.
You know.
I love being in this position, right? Like, sorry, Dominic, but it's pretty super.
Yeah, you're right in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's been fun.
all right, guys. Peace
All
out.
right. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
everyone.
See ya.